What are your thoughts on the TV show Chowder? Forgettable. I did watch it, but I don't really remember anything about it. That might be a good thing because I do remember its sister show, Flapjack, and it stuck out in a very not good way. I didn't really remember anything about Chowder, except for this. I don't get it. If there was a fight between the main six, who do you think would win? My bet is on Twilight. After all, she's a fucking Alcorn princess. If you were to rewrite any episode of MLP, which one would it be? Probably Spike at your service. It seems to be such an easy fix. Just replace Spike for Pinkie Pie, and the episode would practically write itself. And I really do like writing Pinkie. I'll admit that right now. And then there's A Bird in the Hoof, where I would have Fluttershy defending an animal that Celestia was trying to capture that wasn't her pet. It would raise the stakes, and we wouldn't be treated to a dying bird for 22 minutes. May the Best Pet win and Ghostbusters need more tweaking than any other episode, so I'd take them on for a challenge. Great, now I gotta do that episode fixing thing on Thin Fiction. What was the first episode of the show that you saw? The first episode that I saw entirely on my own, like not through a Josh Scorcher review, was Read It and Weep. The Daring Do segments blew me away, even though it was pretty much Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's still really cool though. Aside from Keep Calm and Flutter On, are there any episodes where your opinion has changed from what it was before? Yes, most of Charlotte Fullerton's episodes. They work very well if you don't think about them. I didn't mind Baby Cakes, A Bird in the Hoof for May the Best Pet win, and I actually liked Putting Your Hoof Down at one point. Not all of it, but as a whole, taking a critical approach to something can really change your opinion. Obviously, me liking Putting Your Hoof Down is no longer true. Magical Mystery Cure also went through phases with me like Keep Calm and Flutter On. How do you feel about Wonder over Yonder? It's really too soon to tell. Remember, Friendship is Magic didn't hit its stride until Suited for Success. I'll tell you how I feel about it when its first season is over. What would you consider the worst animated atrocity that you've done so far? Seahorse Seashell Party. It's got a little bit of the Splinter, it's got a little bit of Everybody Knows It's Bendy, it's got a little bit of One Course Meal, and does everything so much worse. Although One Night in Gottlieb is giving it a run for its money. Strange they're both Fox shows. Can you play any game based on Friendship is Magic? Sure I can, I just don't really know any besides Fighting is Magic, which isn't finished yet, and My Little Investigations, which isn't finished yet. Why did you begin YouTube? Because I didn't want to just be another faceless member of the community. At least that's why I started reviewing MLP episodes. When did you ever expect to reach 1,000 subscribers? About 20 years from now. What is your opinion of Homestar Runner? Never seen it before. Sorry. Strong Bad is a really good poker player? I've really got to broaden my horizons. What's your background? It sounds like you've studied debate and the mechanics of storytelling. I'm nothing more than a high school graduate. The mechanics of storytelling is something that I've been learning all of my life on my own. And my skills at debate is just pretty much pure logic. Let's put it this way. I know how to use a sword, but I don't really know how to fence. How do you feel about the bronies that openly insult others who like Alcorn, Twilight, or Magical Mystery Cure? They really tick me off. Look, it's okay to not like Alcorn, Twilight, or Magical Mystery Cure, but please don't insult the people who do. It's alright to disagree, but, don't insult them. Does your avatar resemble what you look like in real life? A little bit. It's what I use for a basis, but not quite. Will you be reviewing the Mentally Advanced series / Rainbow Dash Presents? I don't see why not. What do you think of Phineas and Ferb? Like I said in a previous answer, it is way too formulaic. It's definitely creative in its limitations, but it's still stuck in those limitations. What was your initial reaction to bronies? Pretty indifferent, actually. I grew up with the Powerpuff Girls, My Life as a Teenage Robot, and Kim Possible. So guys liking cartoons with a female main character were nothing new to me. The only unusual part of the story was that it came out of a previously established franchise that was, to put it politely, dying. Do you ever plan on reviewing non-animated works? At one point I was planning on doing video game reviews, but I think that I've hit my specialty. I'll be sticking with animation for quite some time. As for live action, it never really crossed my mind. What is your favorite book, movie, or TV show? My favorite book would have to be The Fellowship of the Ring. It's a pretty cliche choice, I know, but I've gotten out of touch with reading plain old novels. My favorite movie is Big Fish. It's one of Tim Burton's lesser-known films, but any storyteller should really check it out. Once again, it's sort of a marriage of the darker and lighthearted, except reversed, if that makes any sense. My favorite TV show was Samurai Jack. Who is your favorite writer? I don't really have one. There's no one writing style that I tend to gravitate to. What are your political views? I do not have political views. I hate politics. Would you review Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the cartoon or the movie? I'm definitely not reviewing the movie. I might take on the cartoon at some point though. Have you ever watched Super Funny Bros commentaries / defense for Family Guy? If so, your thoughts. No, I have not. Sorry. If you could remake Double Rainboom, how would you change it? to remake what it wanted to be, instead of what they said it would be. Instead of padding out the first half more than necessary, have the whole plot about Rainbow going through multiple other worlds. That would probably fix most of the storytelling problems. You'd also have to make sure to get the characters' personalities right, and I do mean all of them. I wouldn't mind the crossover aspect so much if the Powerpuff Girls weren't so poorly characterized. I mean, think about it. Rainbow Dash could go to a bunch of other cartoons and media, like G3, which speaks for itself, Dexter's Lab, where Dexter would actually try to experiment on Rainbow, The Real World, where a crazed, obsessed fan would try to take her as a pet, etc. If you needed the thing to go on longer, just throw more worlds into the pile. And cut down on the references big time. Why is the moon Domo? I still don't understand that. Have you ever played Team Fortress 2? Yes, I have. I liked it, but I've really moved out of first-person shooters. They're actually one of my least favorite video game genres, which is another reason I don't really play modern games very much. The only first-person shooters that would make my top 100 would be the original Doom, Halo Combat Evolved, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and Unreal Tournament. Also, my bandwidth tends to suck, so yeah. I'm gonna try to get back into it at some point because, as you might have guessed, Team Fortress 2 is on the list. Do you like the Nostalgia Critic? I use his clips enough in my videos. Of course I love the Nostalgia Critic. I don't know anyone who doesn't. Unlike most people though, I like his newer episodes more than his older episodes. In his newer episodes, he balances out real criticisms with the humor. It took him a while to get Malcolm and Rachel to fit into the reviews, but he got it. It also helps that he's reviewing a lot more things that I actually grew up with, like The Cat in the Hat, Bridge to Terabithia, Master of Disguise, and The Son of the Mask. Do you like YouTube poop? No, I do not. I don't really get the appeal. Worst animated movie. There are so many candidates. And that's even if we discount the cheapquels. I'll go with Tentacolino. A lot of people have been wanting me to review the Titanic movies, but the Nostalgia Critic already did them, and people compare me to him enough. However, the worst Titanic movie actually has a sequel that's actually kind of worse, and I will definitely review it. There's also Chicken Little, which is horribly mean-spirited, cluttered, and unfocused. Have you seen Lisa Goes Gaga? No, I have not. Best animated sequel, Toy Story 2. Who is your favorite writer of MLP? Megan McCarthy. If you can change one thing about the internet, what would it be? YouTube's copyright policies. What got you really into animation? As in, when did it strike you to want to analyze and go deeper into the subject of animation? Animation has always been the big constant for me. It's always been something that I've been fascinated in. It really helps that I grew up during the Renaissance age of animation with cartoons making new leaps and bounds all the time. Of course, cartoons in the 2000s generally weren't as good, and I wanted to see why, if there were any reasons beyond nostalgia. I found all kinds of things. People thinking that CG animation was good enough to excuse them from character and stories, money-grubbing companies trying to drain every penny out of their properties, shows that give the spotlight to popular characters and hope that they'll write the jokes themselves, stuff like that. And the experience stayed with me. Are you going to review Season 4 of MLP? Of course I am. I got started with MLP. What is the best animated movie you've ever seen? I'll give you a few categories for my favorite because it's hard to pick my true favorite. My favorite Disney movie is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. My favorite Pixar movie is Ratatouille. My favorite DreamWorks movie is The Prince of Egypt. My favorite anime movie is The Castle in the Sky. And my favorite not in any of those categories movies is The Iron Giant. What's your least favorite live-action TV show? Malcolm in the Middle. What would be the best animated atrocity that you've done thus far? As in the least bad? Now that's an interesting question. I'd have to go with Everyone Knows It's Bendy, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the writer. It just seemed the most salvageable. If they changed up the ending to where Bendy lost, then I probably wouldn't even consider it for an atrocity. I suppose in relation to its own show, the least bad thing that I've done would be Johnny's Royal Flush, since aside from the crocodile getting killed, it's just another episode of Johnny Test. What's your job? I am a freelance writer. You mentioned that you're an artist/writer. Can you please elaborate? I am a freelance writer, and I write novels. As for artist, my work can be seen on my DeviantArt page. I'd take commissions if I knew how. What's your favorite Cartoon Network show? My favorite of all time would be Samurai Jack. My favorite that's still making new episodes is Regular Show. What's your least favorite Cartoon Network show? Any of the live-action shows. If I have to pick an animated show, it would be Johnny Test. What's your favorite Nicktoon? Avatar: The Last Airbender. What's your least favorite Nicktoon? Fanboy and Chum Chum. What's your process for choosing an episode or movie to review? And how do you sift through all the requests to find the best thing to review? At first, it was personal knowledge. I knew that The Splinter, Everyone Knows It's Bendy, or The Hunchback 2 were terrible. Same for Admirable Animations. And like I said prior, I frequently peruse through the So Bad It's Horrible and Dethroning One Would Suck TV tropes pages. The requests I've done solely because somebody requested were The Gravenians, Stuck in the Ringer, Madball's Gross Jokes, and My Fair Brainy. I guess you could say that they had to be interestingly bad, or really fucking horrible. Is there any chance that you'll have a week or two where you'll show us different requests that you have received, and have the fans vote on the one that you should review? I don't see why not. Will you ever make a video on the best and worst things that you have ever reviewed, similar to the Nostalgia Critic's worst and seediest reviewed movies ever? I want to. I really, really want to. But it's kinda hard to do. It's hard to balance a really horrible 11-minute episode to a slightly less horrible 22-minute episode, and an only somewhat bad hour-and-a-half movie. Hell, if I ever get around to it, I might have to do 3 of those lists. I guess the answer is maybe, I just gotta figure out how. When you cover the Friendship is Magic comics, which ones will you do first? The main series or the micro-series? Probably the micro-series because they're individual stories instead of complete arcs. When you review the Friendship is Magic main comic, how will you review it? Will a single issue per video, or will you review a whole arc in one review? I'll do a whole arc in one review. What do you think of Sonic and his games, of what you played, and his cartoons? I never grew up with them, but recently I tried the original on the Genesis, and I do like it a lot, and I'm going to keep playing through the series. What do you think of the Total Drama series? I liked Island, but I fell out of touch with it around Total Drama Action. Do you think you'll be doing any videos on it? Probably not. I don't really remember it delving that bad. There may have been some duds, I don't really remember. It's not on my list. What's your favorite Pixar film? Ratatouille. If you're a critic, you have to watch that movie. Do you like Sergeant Frog? Never heard of it. How come you don't like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? When did I say that? I've never even watched it. I was referring to the one where they became the rock band. That one, when I said I would have to tackle a Sonic cartoon at some point. Are you going to review any superhero shows? Probably at some point. Looking forward to Sonic Lost World? Never heard of it. What do you think of the Paper Mario games and their stories? The Thousand Year Door is on my list. Has someone written any fanfiction between Princess Luna and Freddy Krueger? Considering there's like a million fanfics on fanfiction, I'm guessing probably. How do you feel about Cartoon Network making a live-action movie about bullying? Considering their Dude What Would Happen bullying PSAs, they'll probably flub it. When will you do a crossover review? I'd prefer one with Anthony C. or the AMY pony. I'd love to do crossovers with other MLP reviewers. The problem is that it involves Skype, and Skype is a real pain in the ass to figure out on Windows 8. If there's a way around that, I'd definitely do a crossover with another MLP reviewer. There's also another problem. We seem to be out of episodes to review at the moment. But yeah, I'd definitely love to do a crossover review. And that's the 175th question. Thanks for asking the questions. I might do this again at some point. I was not expecting that many questions. But I do thank you for all participating. I shall continue to provide content in the future. See you next time.